So the race begins, and Hiwot Mariam, who ended up winning the race, she takes it out very hard. I think it was about 15-14 through 5K, and you and Jess Warner Judd, who you're running with, gapped. Uh, what did you expect to be running with her, or were you surprised how quickly she took out? What's going through your thought process when she starts running that fast?
Yeah, I wasn't surprised. I had a feeling her and maybe Dababa, because we didn't know, how fit she would be, that they could take off and start running really fast. And I talked to Ray before the race, and he told me to run about like 5:06s, but that if there wasn't a group to run with, that it'd be better me running like 5:03, 5:04 minute miles, and like having a group, and then like doing that versus 5:06s solo. And we were definitely going faster than that. But I remember, we started off and the first mile was under 5 minutes, and Ray told me that would probably happen, so not a big deal. But then, like, we didn't really slow down that much, and I kept like, I looked behind me and there wasn't really, like, anyone there, so I kind of was just like, I either have to commit to this pace and, hope I don't die too much or, slow down too much. Eventually, I'll have to correct, but, either do that or run a half marathon solo, and I really didn't wanna do 13 miles solo. So I was like, "You know what? I'll try this. This feels okay. I'll slow down eventually at some point and, get into a rhythm, but for right now, like, I wanna run with a group of men." And, Jess Judd was right there, and she was there for a while. She had a great race. I think she can run a lot faster. She gets into a more evenly paced half marathon, so I think, she'll see a lot of success on the roads too. But yeah, definitely started off faster than we were hoping, but I don't regret going with them.
Mhm. And in Chicago, you famously weren't aware of your pace, during a lot of the race. Were you aware how quick you were going in Houston?
Yeah, yeah, I was aware how quick I was going, and I was looking at my watch, every mile to see what I was hitting. Uh, and I didn't look at my watch in Chicago, but, sometimes I do this thing where I say you something, and in my head, it makes perfect sense, and then afterwards, I get a lot of follow-up questions. In Chicago, I did have 2 pacers, so I didn't really have to worry so much. I'm like, "Well, like, that's their job," and they did a great job with that, Brian and Johnny, and my job was just to, like, see if that pace felt right, if I needed to go a little faster or slower, adjust from there. Um, and then I like intentionally didn't want to look at my watch the first half of Chicago, but then I unintentionally shut it off like halfway through the race. So I didn't really have a choice. But it worked out fine. I saw the halfway split in Chicago, and it really helped me like kind of dial in and focus on how I was feeling in that race. But this one's different when you don't have pacers. You kind of do have to pay attention to that.
Which do you prefer? No, having the constant feedback of seeing a split every mile, or not really knowing what pace you're on, just having these people to guide you along?
I really enjoyed Chicago. I liked kind of just focusing on what felt right because, like, I wasn't being coy. I really going into that race just wanted to, like, whatever my, like, maximum, like, effort was that day to really, like or not maximum effort, whatever my, like, best was on that day, I wanted to just reach that potential, and if that was, like, 2:19:40, like, I would have been happy with that, or if that was 2:19 flat, I would have been ecstatic with that. And so I really just focused on, is this a pace that, like, I can sustain? How am I feeling? Can I pick it up? And throughout the race, a couple times, I was able to talk to Johnny and be like, "I can go a little bit faster in Chicago," and that was kind of fun, just going off feel. So, but then I don't know. I guess Houston's fun too because when you don't have people pacing you, you have to like almost use a different part of your brain making decisions. Do I stay with this pack? Do I try to catch that person in front of me? It's just different types of racing, I guess.
So overall, I mean, I guess Ray said something about 5:06, which is he knows you pretty well because that would be 66:51, and you
Yeah, yeah.
you
It might have been the Super Bowl.
you ran 66:52. Like, I mean, obviously you got the American record. You're the first American under 67 minutes in a records eligible course, so congratulations.
Thank you.
But like, what uh, what was the? I mean, obviously the goal was the American record, but like, what did you when you finished? What did you think of that performance on a scale of 0 to 10? How would you rate it? Like, what were you thinking pre-race? Like, what was your? Did you have an A goal, a B goal, a C goal?
I wanted to go for the win, and then, like, along the way, like, if I won the race, I figured I'd set the record because it usually is won in under American record time. So my goal was to try to go for the win, but she was just too good, on that day, and, Like, I think that was a good race, given how it went out, and I'm happy with where I'm at in training right now. I think that's, like, a good, like, solid run. I'm not as fit as I was in Chicago, I'm not out of shape either, though, so I think for where I'm at right now in my training cycle, like, that's, like, a good performance. So I'd like to run faster, and I'd like to get a little quicker at the half marathon. I just need to find one timing-wise that makes sense, and yeah, I think a lot of American women can run faster in the half marathon, and I've always wondered why most of our PRs really aren't like quite indicative of what like we're capable of. And I think like the timing of Houston is a big part of that because that's the one fast half marathon. And if you're a marathoner, like you're either just coming off a fall marathon or getting ready for a spring one, and then a lot of track athletes, their main focus is like just making the team like USA's is their main goal. And yeah, but I think there are a lot of women that can go faster. Like I think like I don't think I'm the only one that can go faster than that. So maybe we should just make like a marathon project type course like for the half marathon out in Arizona and fly everyone out here.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome because, like you said, a lot of people, when Americans, when they race the half marathon, it's inopportune times or it's part of their preparation for a marathon. And that's really the race they're peaking for. So, we were talking about this earlier on the podcast before you joined. Your American record in the marathon is 4 minutes and 25 seconds off the world record in the marathon. And your American record in the half is 4 minutes off of the world record in the half marathon. So it would certainly seem like there's sort of some time to be chopped off there. And you've said that too. Like, whether it's you or someone else, like, how far do you think Americans can take that half marathon record? Like, do you think sub 66 is reasonable or is it 66:30? Where do you think that could be if, we get that marathon project type race and everyone's going for it?
Yeah, I definitely don't wanna set, like, a limit or, like, a ceiling, but I think, like, based on, people we're competitive with, I don't know, seeing someone like when I see, like, Eilish McColgan run, like, 66:30, I'm like, "Okay," I'm usually, like, competitive with her, so that's probably where I should be at, or, like, Haven, is that how you say your last name?
Close to Halfin.
Last wait, that's it, yeah, breaking 66. I'm like, "Okay, like, we have Americans competitive with her." So, yeah, I think, like, in that ballpark, is where we can get, and I don't know if maybe, like, Europe has more half marathons. I think they definitely do. Um, but, yeah, I don't know, I think people are capable of it, so, it'd be fun to see. But, yeah, that's my main theory why a lot of Americans haven't run faster. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but that's the only thing I could think of. Um but yeah, I think that's probably a good area to shoot for, the low 66 minutes.
One more question about race day in Houston. How'd you celebrate? Are you a glass of wine after the race person? Are you a hamburger person? How do you celebrate these things?
I usually go for a glass of wine. Yeah, that's usually, my go-to, but after a marathon, I just want, like, hamburger, fries, like, something like that. I actually don't want anything sweet. I think it's from just all the fueling in the race, and before, like, because it's just so much carb loading that I don't even wanna look at a donut afterwards. I just want, like, fries and my wine.
So, what was the wine of choice in Houston? Do you remember?
It was a Malbec. I have an app, it's called Vivino, and I, like, take a picture of a bottle of wine, and then it has, like, a rating, and it gives me and so I do, like, different price ranges, and, like, sometimes the cheaper one actually is rated, like, higher than the more expensive one.
I'm curious, when you pick an overseas marathon, is that a financial hit? Like, would an American marathon pay more, or is it really not that much of a difference?
No, the American ones will pay more. Yeah, definitely. But we were just like, and I want to do all the majors. So I do want to do Boston. I want to do New York. I just have to time it right for what my big goals are and kind of work back from that. But yeah, so right now we're working back from the Olympic trials. So uh, the overseas one made the most sense in our plan right now. But yeah, it is a little bit of a financial hit, but I do feel like we're in a good enough place. We don't have to always choose marathons like based on what's paying the most. That's kind of our approach is more just focus on running well, and then and then that part will follow. So don't focus on just like always trying to make the most um, like get the biggest appearance fee if it's not going to be the best race result or might like set you up poorly for the trials, which then I don't know. Like, that's kind of how we operate, I guess.
I mean, you got all these American records. Like, what motivates you? Like, what do you want to do in this next marathon? What's your big goal there? Is it to win it, to run another American record? What's your and for the rest of your career, what is the big goal?
For this next one, my goal is to be it's a really good field. So I want to be able to compete with that field and hang in there. I know what kind of pace they're going to go out at, and I need to get really fit to be able to do it. But my goal is to run faster and be competitive with that field. But then my big career goals, I feel like luckily I do feel like I have been able to do a lot of things I've hoped to do, which is kinda nice, and the 2, like, really big goals I still have left are, I'd like to medal and I'd like to try to win a major, and those are the 2 things that, I feel like motivate me the most, and I'm only 31 and people are running well into their, like, late 30s, actually early 40s now, so, like, I'm hoping, like, if I just keep trying, like, maybe one day it'll click, but I could work really hard and, like, accomplish neither of those things because 'cause they're so hard to do. But, like, that probably motivates me the most are those 2 big goals.
We're in an interesting time in the women's marathon, probably coming off of the greatest year in the history of the women's marathon. You ran 2:18:29 in Chicago last year. On January 1st, 2022, that would have put you number 14 all time, but it only put you number 20 on the 2022 world list. That's how
God.
fast this event was last year. And obviously, the shoes help compared to 5 or 6 years ago, but does that alone explain this explosion? Like, do you have any theories on why suddenly we're seeing 214s, 215s, 216s with regularity in this event?
It just seems like there's more depth because like, the top times haven't dropped as much, the world record hasn't, but, like, there's just so many more sub 219, sub 220 women out there, and I'm sure the shoes definitely help, but I don't know, I, like do you think more people are just moving up to the marathon earlier in their careers? Like, yeah, do you think maybe that's part of it or, like, from the track as opposed to waiting till the end?
Yeah, I don't know. We couldn't really figure it because there's not been a similar bump on the men's side, and I don't know if it's just there's more Kenyan Ethiopian women taking it up, but it's not limited to that country because obviously you and Kira also broke the American records last year. I don't know. That's kind of why I was asking you if you had any theories because we don't we can't really figure out this explosion.
It's one of those things I can't quite figure out either. Like, the only thing I could think of was more people are moving up in general earlier. Like, how old's G'day? Like, she's quite young, isn't she?
Yeah, she's probably 23 or 24, right?
Yeah. Like, I don't think people moved up that early before, did they? And so there's more people like her that are still, like, in like, she could be running really fast on the track, but is then also, like, reaching to the marathon now. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that one, but I find it interesting too.
Yeah. Do you feel pressure to as just an American distance runner to kind of raise the game and to keep up with them because 218 a few years ago that would have been one of the very best in the world and you did I mean you got second in a world marathon major running it so it's not exactly chopped liver but you're also like 4 minutes behind the winner in that race so do you feel like pressure as an American to kind of keep stepping it up and to catch up with these women up front?
A little bit, but then I also know, like, I can only improve as much as I can improve, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. Like, I can only be as good as, like, I'm ever capable of. And I think I can run faster than 2:18:29. I don't think I could have run faster on the day. I think that was as fast as I could go. But I do think I can run faster, and I do think I can be competitive. But, like, I don't know where my ceiling is, and I don't wanna put, like, a limit on it or anything, but I guess I'm focusing on what can I do to stay healthy, to do as much training as I can so that I can, um, reach that potential, if that makes sense. And whatever that is, that is. And maybe my best bet for trying to win a marathon major isn't then a flat, fast course, or maybe I do like keep showing up and like maybe you just have to have like some like to be kind of lucky on the day. I don't know, but I do think can keep improving. But I don't think to myself, well, how can I run 2:15 pace? Because that's not how you improve. It's how can I just get faster than I am today? And so that's how I look at things.